March Madness on Capitol Hill. I am Rick Klein from ABC News, joined by ESPN's Andy Katz. Andy has started the tradition the last couple of years, doing brackets with the President of the United States. We're excited to start things off with the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell today.
So we started this in 2009, the idea that I came up with then Senator Obama in 2008. We continued it for 8 years, made the offer to President Trump. He's not a basketball fan, so he declined. But we said, you know what? We got to continue the tradition here on Capitol Hill, or at least in Washington, D.C., so why not bring it to the Capitol and certainly talk to leaders like Senator Mitch McConnell.
Do they care about basketball in Kentucky at all? Is that a thing?
Just a little bit, as you guys have probably reported numerous times. When college basketball is on, the Louisville market, which is about the 50th largest market in the country, has more eyeballs watching college, no matter who's playing, whether it's UK, U of L, or anybody else. More people watching college basketball than any other market in the country, New York, LA.
Wow.
I mean, we're fanatics.
Yeah, it clearly is the #1 market for college basketball. I don't know if there's a better rivalry. I mean, obviously, you have seen it firsthand a number of different times. How would you describe the intensity of the Kentucky-Louisville rivalry?
Well, I don't live in another state, but it's pretty intense. And, between them, they have 11 national championships, big fan bases. Kentucky's got a bigger fan base in Kentucky than U of L does, but it's very, very intense. People care a lot about it.
But how do you straddle the fact that obviously you've got Louisville leanings, but at the same time you have to be a Kentucky fan?
Yeah, I like both of them. I went to Louisville undergraduate, Kentucky law school. But if they play each other, I'm for Louisville. I think people tend to pull for where they went to undergraduate school, but I pull for both of them. I like both Calipari and Pitino a lot.
So let's talk about your picks here. So we can get to the right half of the bracket because I don't think there's any surprises there.
Yeah.
You've got Louisville and Kentucky going out on a limb. But you're a big. It looks like you're into these two seeds, Duke and Arizona.
Duke is hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. They knocked the Cardinals out in game 1, and they're on a streak. They got great talent. Had a kind of funky early part of the year, but clearly got their act together when Coach K came back. And honestly. This is a pick of the heart, not of the head. I'm not so sure U of L can beat Duke.
And you like Arizona potentially getting to Glendale, getting to right there to play essentially at home in the Final Four.
They're good. They're good. I mean, anything could happen. I don't think there's a totally dominant. If you look at who's playing well lately, it'd be hard to bet against Duke.
So this has happened in the Final Four before, and if I'm not mistaken, I think you were there. At least I know I've seen you at Kentucky-Louisville games. What would it mean to the state of Kentucky if Louisville and Kentucky meet again in the Final Four?
It'd be big. Yeah, I mean well, look at the first round in Indianapolis. We've got an upstart too.
Yeah.
Right behind you. Northern Kentucky.
Northern Kentucky.
Sweatshirt.
Never been before. I mean, there isn't going to be anybody left in Kentucky this weekend. They're all going to be in Indianapolis, either for NKU, UK, or U of L.
That must mean a lot to the students at Northern Kentucky to be to be in the tournament and to play Kentucky in that first round. I mean, if they keep it close, I'm imagining if a couple of points at halftime, that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it's a big deal for those guys.
So the Norse, I know you went on the Senate floor and congratulated them. In a state where Louisville and Kentucky dominate everything, you have Western Kentucky as well. But where's the footprint for a school like Northern Kentucky in the state of Kentucky?
Well, they're up and coming. I mean, we had a little college, Union College, that actually won a lower division national championship this year. So basketball is hot in Kentucky, even if the big teams are not your favorites. We like our basketball a lot. And Western's had a lot of good years, too.
So you mentioned John Calipari and Rick Pitino. Clearly, two of the most popular people in the state, maybe not in Louisville and Lexington comparatively, but what have they meant to the state of Kentucky? And obviously Pitino with his history of being the former Kentucky coach.
Well, first with regard to Calipari, you may or may not know, he quotes me all the time.
On what?
Yeah, because I said to Coach Cal, I said, you've made more millionaires than a Wall Street firm.
Which is true.
And so he's used that frequently. It's a hot rivalry between two really great, Hall of Fame coaches, and Calipari's had the upper hand most of the time since they've been competing against each other, but Rick beat him this year, and it's a hot rivalry.
And you want to keep them out of politics. They weren't running against you in the Senate. I can imagine that being competitive. So let's wrap things up here with a little talk here about the rivalry. So you see the two of them going at it. More heart than head, maybe, but Louisville's had a heck of a season too, and that's a really good team.
Well, they've had some bummers too, like losing at Wake Forest away was not great. I think the reason they ended up being a number 2 seed was strength of schedule, because losing 8 times is not something to brag about, but they played a rough schedule, and I think that's probably what got them the number 2. Whether they can deal with a hot team like Duke, of course, North Carolina's not doing bad either. UK has to deal with them. I'm hoping the Cardinals or the Wildcats make it.
All 2 seeds. That'll be an interesting one. I like that you've got a East Tennessee State upset there in the first round. That looks like a lot of fun. And Middle Tennessee over here. Those 12-5, 4-13 games. You like an upset there?
Yeah, I think there are always upsets, and typically it's somebody you haven't heard of. It's a lot better than you think, and I think those are 2 good examples.
Now down here, any politics here of making sure that Senator Manchin's happy? You get a little dancing there?
They don't have any chance against Gonzaga.
Fair enough. What is it like on the Senate floor during these days? Because we're all at workplaces where everyone fills out a bracket and everyone's rooting for their teams. You've got 99 colleagues, literally from everywhere. You know, every school here is going to be represented on the Senate floor. Are you guys watching the games? Are you talking about the rivalries?
Well, in the cloakroom, which is the room sort of off the Senate floor, when the games are going on, if we have votes, people are in there watching basketball. They're not out on the floor. I mean, and everybody in every office, I think, is filling out brackets. We're just like everybody else in the country. This is March Madness, and we love it.
And is there any kind of senators bracket? Do you compete against any of your colleagues?
No, I haven't noticed that. But if we get down to the end, for example, Shelley Moore Capito went to Duke. We could end up having some serious discussions.
And some bets. Those are always fun at the end,
absolutely.
I want to go back a couple of years with Louisville. Their athletic fortunes changed when they got in the ACC. Can you take us back to maybe the politics of that, of Louisville getting into the ACC? Because it was very competitive at the time. I remember with West Virginia, and clearly it has changed the fortunes of this university.
The competition with West Virginia was for the Big 12.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
And we lost out to West Virginia because the Big 12 hired a consultant who thought football was the most important thing. I think it worked out well for U of L. They ended up in a league. Everybody's in the same time zone. The travel's not bad. Great basketball league and an increasingly good football league. Look at what happened with Clemson this year. So that was great. I tell you, the guy that deserves credit for it is Tom Jurich, the athletic director at U of L. When he came to U of L 20 years ago, the athletic budget was down around $8 or $10 million. Now it's well up over $100 million, way over $100 million. And when they went into the ACC, I think only Florida State had a bigger athletic budget. He did that outside of any power conference. A remarkable job. So if you're looking for the guy who made it possible for Louisville to get in the ACC, it's Tom Jurich.
You know, this is $1 billion business, if you will, everything, and we support it, obviously, with television and all that. You know, one of the buzz things, of course, has been, you know, how much amateur status should it be? I mean, where do you stand on whether or not these guys should get anything more than cost of attendance, you know, in terms of any kind of compensation?
They're getting a free education, an opportunity to get a degree. Most of them are never going to be professionals. This also underwrites all the non-revenue sports that would be nowhere but for the revenue produced by football and basketball. These are amateurs. They ought to continue to be amateurs. They do get a lot out of it. They shouldn't be paid, in my view.
So we see some fun stuff behind you. Let's talk about some of the memorabilia you collected here. You got a Louisville basketball.
Yeah.
And a
UK.
Louisville. And that looks like a sign by Coach Cal.
The Kentucky basketball right here.
Kentucky basketball.
Yeah. Louisville over there, Northern Kentucky here. Got to be well balanced.
Yes. and Western Kentucky.
Down
yeah.
there.
Oh, I forgot. WKU down here. So we're well balanced here.
So what's your favorite sports memory in the state of Kentucky?
Oh, my God. I guess it would be U of L winning national championships, which has happened a couple of times in my life. And I think that's kind of the magic moment. But I enjoy it when Kentucky does, too. I mean, we have a lot of people down there love to hate whoever you're not for. I'm not in that group. And, you know, we've had a lot of national championships. It's pretty exciting.
Bigger even than the Derby?
Yeah, for me, I like
Yeah.
it better than the Derby. I go to the Derby every year. It's a big deal in Kentucky, but nothing's bigger than college basketball in the Commonwealth.
Yeah, that's my quick follow-up. Bigger event, Kentucky Derby or a Kentucky-Louisville game that means something?
A Kentucky-Louisville game that means something. Yeah.
I like that, a clear answer. Before we let you go, I want to ask you one item in the news. I know you were very public a year ago in calling for President Trump to release his taxes. The revelation last night, does that change anything in your mind, make any questions more urgent in seeing more?
Yeah, it's really up to him. You know, there's no legal requirement. He's got to decide whether to do it or not.
Okay, well, we're having some fun today because we're talking sports. I want to get you to sign your baseball card. I don't know if you've seen these or not. Have you seen the
No, I
baseball
haven't.
card of Senator Mitch McConnell? There it is. There it is. I'll get you to get your autograph right
You
here.
have all the
Yeah,
senators?
finally.
Pretty good.
Do you have all-
A pretty good number
Okay.
actually. Part of this set. I think this is kind of cool. Please, I know you're signing a lot of baseball cards over the years.
This is a collector's item.
I know. We'll consider it like the autograph on the bracket as well.
You know, actually, people mail me these at home
Do they really?
with return envelopes, saying, will you sign? I've gotten a number of them at home from kids.
Do you sign?
Yeah.
All right. I love
And they'll
that.
put in a stamped, self-addressed envelope and just sign and put it in and mail it.
That's terrific. I love it. All right, Senator Mitch McConnell, Senate Majority
Good to
Leader,
see
thank
you.
you so much.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you, Senator.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good to
Thank you
see
for kicking this off with us today. We're going to be back throughout the day. Andy and I, you follow us on at ESPN, Andy Katz, at Rick Klein. Watch our podcast, listen to our podcast, Capital Games. It's been a lot of fun. We'll be back. We really appreciate being here with Senator McConnell to kick things
Multiple
off.
senators throughout the course of the day will be over in the rotunda.
All right, thanks so much.